Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Oh yes.
Hey,
And also me.
Heck yes.
this is Michael Rosso, and this is Film Photography Podcast, the internet radio show for people who enjoy, love, shoot film, make traditional film photography part of their lives. 117, episode 17, 117. January 15th, 2015. And I can tell everyone listening, this is a very calm Michael Rosso. That's my name. Drinking a Paul Newman decaf coffee.
Oh.
I'm here in the studio with Matt Mirage.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I love caffeine.
You do. You just had a shot.
I'm
Mr.
buzzing.
Mark Dalzell.
Yep.
Leslie Lazenby.
I love caffeine too. Hi, everyone.
And here we are. Well, let's roll the show. Yay! Happy New Year, everybody. It's already a great 2015, and I'm going to kick off the show with a letter. A listener sent in some stuff. It says, "Hello, FPP gang. Greetings from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. I'm enjoying all the new shoes, as always.
What shoe?
Attending the FPP walking workshop this past May was a highlight of my year. I'm not sure whether a trip to the West Coast will be in the cards for 2015, but you never know. We're going to be talking about that in a minute. Signing up for Mark Dalzell's class on processing C41. See, he does look like a professor.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Professor Dalzell.
Professor Gilligan.
C41
Was just the motivation I needed to start doing my own home processing with the Unicolor C41 kit. Available right here in the FPP store. Since our last local lab, Walgreens, stopped processing film some months ago, the timing was fortuitous. I'm happy to say I'm no longer dependent on nearby labs for doing black and white or color negative film processing, a fact that has saved me time, money, and no small amount of frustration when the 1 hour lab loses part of my role. Part of the role. Like,
Oh, geez.
rip.
Yeah. Snip.
Enclosed in the box are the most quintessential, authentic Tennessee treats I could find to share with you guys.
Moon pies.
Oh.
I thought it was going to be a kind of whiskey.
I'm very excited about this. Oh my God.
Apparently they keep well, too, because those were made in 1917.
Moon pies over here.
Oh, since 1917.
You know, I never knew these were made in Tennessee. He says, while you might be able to find them up your way, these boxes were bought fresh from the Moon Pie General Store in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. It's so funny. You know, I posted an image of moon pies on my Instagram. For folks on Instagram, I'm FPP_Michael. And do you know that the Moon Pie Factory, the bakery, they have their own Instagram account.
Oh, did they reblog it?
They put, like, pinned it, post it, whatever they're going to do.
Oh, wow.
So exciting for me, Lance. Oh, this is from Lance, by the way. Pigeon Forge is a popular tourist destination in the Smokies and is also home of the famous Dollywood theme park.
Yes, it is. I've been to Pigeon Forge many moons ago. Many moon pies ago.
Oh, that was some good moon pie.
I apologize for not sending a handwritten letter. I don't really care as long as you send the moon pies. But I figured I'd do better typing it, just in case you actually want to be able to read the contents. Lance King. Yay.
Thanks, Lance. Yeah. And thanks for taking the class.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever think you'd be a professor?
No.
Hey, so speaking of Lance in Tennessee, you know what's coming up? I'm actually going to see Lance here, not too distant future. Imaging USA 2015 is going to be in Nashville.
No way.
Yeah. So I'll be heading on down there with Midwest Photo. We'll probably see him there.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me get a shot of... Nice! Yes!
Or as my dad would call it, film.
You know what's really great about these moon pies? They're not super sweet.
No, they're not.
Oh.
Like if you have a cup of coffee, it's kind of dry and kind of crumbly, which perfectly complements a cup of coffee. So, Lance King, I want to tell you, thank you very much. I sent the call out to our listeners. I said, hey, we're going to be doing some taping. Give us a hand here. And you guys did. So thank you, Lance. He mentions he may not be able to come out to the West Coast. I would like to say that I want to announce, we announced it on our homepage, filmphotographyproject.com. That's our homepage. Top story. We're having our FPP Walking Workshop 2015 at the Darkroom in San Clemente, California. It's on the west coast of the United States. Before we tape today, myself, Leslie, and Matt, we are on the phone with Mr. Keith Swan and Mr. Phil Stebley from the Darkroom. And our event is going to be on Saturday, March 14th and Sunday, March 15th, this year, 2015. It's our first ever FPP event on the West Coast. First time west of the Mississippi. It's going to be a really awesome time. We announced it on December 31st. It is now just 15 days later, and we already have, about 40 people signed up.
Oh, my gosh.
Because we're having it at a lab. There's a full lab tour. So you'll be able to go through a working C41 E6 lab to see how film is processed, the process of when you send your roll in, if you're already a Darkroom customer, how that process occurs from the time it comes in till the time it is finished. It's sort of like those old training films, or those old like industrial films you see in school, where it's like, how does the letter you mail, how does it get to the person you're sending it to? Sorted.
The old assembly line movies.
Exactly.
Here they're pouring your film into ingots.
If you're thinking about it, go to our site, filmphotographyproject.com. Check out the article. You'll see that you will need to email. He's like, how do you do this? What is it about?
Well, it's free.
That's right.
Free. Free fun 2 days.
With the FPP gang, talking film, shooting film. We're going to be going into town. There's vinyl stores in town. We're going to be having donuts and coffee.
Maybe some moon pies.
Maybe some moon pies if Lance comes. Go to the site. You'll see you need to contact Leslie via her email. It's on the site. And say, hey, I'm coming. I'm coming.
Yeah.
And we'll be so happy to see you. All right. Let's read a quick letter. It's a kind of a follow-up from a previous show where we talked about DR5.
Oh, cool.
What is DR5, Matt?
DR5 is a specialty black and white chrome process, which takes your black and white negative film and turns it into a super positive film.
Mr. Dave Wood from DR5 sent us a bunch of samples. Like, he took some of FPP Shmina films, and he shot samples.
Yeah, he sent back the test strips, and we weren't sure if the dog was real or not.
And here's the answer. You read from this point. It continues on the back.
All right.
This is from Mr. Dave Wood from DR5.
The pup, the DR5 dog, is Miss Keeley. She's a 3 3/4-year-old Parsons Jack Russell Terrier, the Brit Jack version. She's a wire hair with extra long hair, not too common. Real. Check that one off.
Real. Not Memorex.
And then my last pup, Buddy.
Buddy!
Oh, passed away now almost 4 years. He has a little memorial page on the DR5 site. I remember seeing that. And he was with me before DR5 was a lab. First half of his life, he was with me in the studio in NYC. And he was so used to cameras, he'd get right into place when asked. Therefore, that's how the modeling on the test strips came to be. That's kind of cool. Keeley, on the other hand, is a completely different dog, maybe because she didn't have the same studio time that Bud had. Smart as a whip, but loaded with energy. That's common for the Jack Russell Terriers. Let's see. One day I was setting up the doll in the gray card and had my back turned to test the films and cameras. Upon turning around, there she was, sitting next to the doll. So besides knowing all the names of her toys, looking for her mice, jumping up and down on the TV, playing ball, and playing with leaf piles, when I turn on the studio lights, she heads right to the doll. Bud would be so proud. Jack Russell's always looking for a job to do.
The dog's trained.
Yeah, she just jumped. Well, I guess whenever he flips the studio lights on, there she is, ready model.
Incredible.
Strudel's getting there. He just kind of gets like weary the whole time, like, it's too close. It's really hot.
Before we go on to any further topics, I would like to. Well, I loved like a Santa Claus. I like to hand out gifts. I'm going to hand out gifts
Oh no.
to all the folks here. I'm going to open them up right here on the shoe. This is for Leslie.
It's
A
another
moon pie.
This is for Matt.
I love your
Oh,
choice.
Leslie's already opening hers.
Oh, I'll keep it a secret, though. It's
No,
all right.
okay, open
I'll
it.
just
Go ahead.
No, it doesn't matter.
No, go
Let's
ahead.
just
Go ahead.
keep
Go ahead.
It's a black bag. No, it isn't.
No, it's not.
It is. Oh, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. What you've all been waiting for.
That's right.
This is it. Shvima film in 120 size, color Negative.
Whoa.
Shmina Color 125. It's hand-rolled. Later in this show, or in a very show in the really near future, we're going to be talking about Shmina film. Some of our listeners up in Canada have been going really, what's a good word, ape shit over this film. And Mr. Mark Dalzell himself
It's my favorite, too.
is a big fan of this Shmina Color 125.
Yeah. From beginning to, I love the color of it. I love how flat it is when you go to scan it. Just everything about it is nice to work with.
I mean, what can you can't ask for anything more.
Exactly. Yeah, it's great all along the process.
Yeah. Moving right along, our next gift.
Thanks.
Open that baby up.
Wrapped.
Oh, fancy.
Pull that baby up. Nice.
The Crabfest book. All right, page 1 is Dane eating a crab.
This is Crabfest Book.
Excellent.
Nice.
Mark was kind enough to invite me 2 years in a row, I might add, to something called Crabfest. And this is basically a big crab shindig at his house where it's just like a crab seafood apocalypse of shrimp, crab, scallops, not and this beef, some kind of beef. What was the meat?
We did ribs this year.
There's a picture of a man holding a huge thing of ribs, and then talk about a cake-a-palooza at dessert time.
Dessert.
I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you go over.
There's
there
Brian
it
with
is.
the ribs,
Oh, let me
yeah.
get a shot of that.
Oh my gosh.
I've been to parties where like the food is amazing, but then like you know, a little bit later on, you're like, oh, where's the coffee? You're like,
Yeah.
what's going on with the dessert? No. At Mark's, there's like an entire dining room table, just like wall-to-wall cakes.
Well, we had about 50 people come, and we told everybody, what can we bring? I just bring in dessert. So we ended up with...
Yeah. And I took so many pictures, I thought, you know what? You know, and this time of year, I get email blasts from Clark Color, which I'm going to talk about, saying, 50% off books.
Your books,
Like,
yeah.
you know what? I'm like, damn.
Who is it?
Clark Color.
This doesn't even have any kind of
Branding.
copyright marks.
Branding.
No, it doesn't.
Nothing at all.
That's great.
Which is nice, yeah.
So I've been using a company called Clark Color since I'm a child. And when I was a child, people used to read newspapers. And the Sunday newspaper would have 2-3 these yellow mailers called Clark Color. Or sometimes there'd be the other competing companies were Dale Color and York. Those were the big three. And at that time, they had depots like all over the United States. Mm-hmm. There was a lot going on back then because everyone was shooting film. So I've been a customer forever, and they still process film. I'm signed up on the Clark website. I get their email blasts, and I did a bunch of books this holiday season. I did some calendars. Shooting all year long. It's really just a fun way to kind of, spread the love of film photography.
Yeah. Wrap it up.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Matt Marash. Now this is a combo, regular gift and birthday gift.
Oh.
The birthday gift's from John and I.
Oh wow. Thank you guys. A Ferrania shirt.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Love the Ferrania's project. What
And
they're
a big
doing.
box.
It's amazing. And a box. Oh my god.
I like the big box.
I like the big box
Wow.
too. Whoa.
Oh.
No. Whoa. You shouldn't have. That's wow.
Yeah.
I knew it as soon as I picked it up.
He did?
Oh, I was like,
a box
this-
of film. It's a box of Kodak Portra 400 in 8x10 size.
the biggest.
Yes.
This stuff is
Fresh.
Yeah. Oh, precious.
Nice.
Yeah.
And although I would like to take credit for the Film Ferrania T-shirt, the Film Ferrania T-shirt is courtesy of Film Ferrania, Dave and Annie over at Film Ferrania in New York.
Did they hook us up?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Well, they didn't hook us up. They hooked us a select few up,
Oh okay.
So you and Matt are hooked up.
pretty much.
Oh wow. This
And
is-
Hunter, the guy who did the interview.
Oh, okay.
Oh great.
Gifts are fun. It's freezing out. It's cold. And this time of year, we're going to talk about three quick subjects. The first of which is how to chase away the winter blues. I have some input from our Flickr friends, tips for shooting in the winter, and what inspired you in 2014. Let's start with what inspired you in 2014. And these was a thread, it's called. For folks who are reading newspapers, a thread is on the internet. It's like... This is on Flickr.com. If you go to Flickr.com and search groups, you will find the Film Photography Podcast group. Question was, what inspired you in 2014? And our good friend Alex Laux, also who does our show notes, he says, being able to apply a tiny bit of the zone system to my photographs. Mm-hmm. How much can I torture Tri-X? A greater understanding of the power of 4x5. Pentax Pete says, what inspired your 2014? He says, how to de-squeak a Canon A1 and AE1. I kind of like the squeak.
That's how you know it's working, yeah.
I just got a basically brand new, never been used Canon A1. And the first time it was just the loudest squeak. The squeak was louder than the shutter noise.
So it just comes out of the box squeaking.
I literally thought it was going to be the quietest camera in the world. It's just nothing but squeak.
Does it bother you, the squeak?
I don't care, no. I mean, it just, to me, it sounds like a Canon. Like, that's just the sound that a Canon makes, but that may be offensive to some camera.
Flat Spin. Now, these are their handles, their quote-unquote Flickr names, so a lot of these are not, person's name. Flat Spin says, the relationship between perspective and focal length. Mm-hmm. Elementary, I know, but hey, I'm still learning.
No, that's a good one everybody can brush up on.
Ray Lemeister says, thanks to the podcast, I learned about a variety of film stocks and support of analog photography. I've also learned that sometimes it takes spending thousands of dollars in expensive equipment only to realize the cheapest alternative was the most viable. Mm-hmm. Lance King mentioned he got into C41. iNet Joker says he got into ECN-2 developer this year. Oh, wow. And he says he can remove the remjet backing without touching the film. I wonder if it's like a mind, like magic. Like the film levitates.
Nothing up my sleeves.
Joe X Edge, learning the zone system and learning to control it to my tastes. CGW1208 says, that Fujifilm.ca's dirt cheap process scan service will let me enjoy 35mm until they junk their Frontiers. Frontiers are their processing units.
Yep, the big ones.
120-127 says, I'm about halfway towards learning how to nail exposure. I learned, too, that very occasionally I get a keeper, which keeps me shooting.
Stick and string
says, gotta love these names, right? I just got back into film photography this past spring, so I've learned and relearned so much this year. I guess one of the biggest things I learned was how many great deals there are out there on film cameras. I started off with 2 Pentax SLRs I still had from the 80s, and I've added 9 more cameras in the last few months, including 2 medium formats, a Pentax 645N, and a Yashica 126G. I guess I could say I've learned how forgiving my wife is. He says, and I learned about the FPP podcast. Holy cow, what a find. And I do hold them particularly responsible for my gas. A lot of people hold us responsible for their gas. It's not fair. I'm not reaching in through the microphone and putting your hand on the eBay bid button.
Yeah, it's just a link in the show notes.
Here's our good friend Shaq Mahdi. He says, every year the FPP inspires me to keep shooting and introducing new films to play with, like Shmina, my 2014 discovery, thanks to Mike and the gang. This year I've been doing the usual shuffle between buying new cameras and lenses and selling off whatever I'm not using. Gas has been pretty bad this year, but I've gotten some good shots in Afghanistan with that gear. Of course, Shaq Mahdi, Michael Sherman, he's the gent who sent us the big Afghanistan. What would you call it? Afghanistani? No. Afghan package.
Yeah, the hats, the patches, some crazy chocolates.
Hey, Shaq Mahdi, Matt just tried on the what was that, desert hat.
Yeah, that hat leaves more fur on me than strudel.
Groove Chapter says,
a couple of different things. Finishing my photographic imaging course at college. Ooh. Nice. Starting a photography business that has film at its center. Nice. Whoa. Buying an RB67 for studio work.
Yes.
Jealous.
FPP every fortnight. Nice. It says, cheers and Happy New Year, Justin. GB Hill says, the crap load of film I have keeps me inspired. Plus, an internet friend surprisingly sent me a Canon T50 and 244T Speedlight for Christmas.
Oh,
nice. I think the 244T is the proprietary flash for the T50.
Yeah, it's a little guy.
Yeah, a little guy. This is the exact setup I had many years ago when the T50 first came out. I also was introduced to Shmina films through the FPP.
Yes. Yes.
So I bought some 200 ASA black and white.
My favorite.
That's right. I'm very excited about shooting these new films. Burnt Umber says, Scala for sale in the U.S. is exciting to me. Is it new film, or did someone release some...
DR5 selling it.
Okay. Yes, I know I can do reversal on other black and white films, but Scala holds a special place for me. Can't wait to hit a car show.
Yeah, me too. I didn't do enough of that last year.
RWL7532. Sounds like we're in like a science fiction film.
It's like ham
I
radio.
thought it was like your CD,
Stardate.
your
Oh,
CD
WL.
and
Yeah,
05.
exactly.
Or like we're in Logan's Run.
Huh.
Since I decided to take up photography again, in prep for my upcoming retirement, June 2015, congratulations.
Jealous.
I have to say that Amazon and eBay have inspired me. My photo stream is mostly filled up with my experiments with black and white film, developing, and camera and lens combinations. Gordon Cooper says, I have lost many friends in the past 2 years, and losing someone this year made me realize how important to me to take photos and keep notes. Someday, this person will be someone's grandmother, and the child will one day wonder what grandma looked like. Keeping labeled negatives and prints helps keep memories and stories alive. Please shoot film, document, archive, and have fun. Today's sunlight can be someone's distant memory one day. Aww.
Oh,
That's pretty cool.
That's really neat.
Leslie and I
very
were
true, yeah.
we were talking about archiving and how important. A lot of times I carry my camera. I'll go to a family function and I'll kick myself after the event because I didn't shoot enough.
Same here.
You know, because you're like, and then you find out, Aunt Tilly kicked it.
Yep. Never know.
So yeah, it's really awesome taking family shots. So many. God, there's so many. Rosemary Hawkins.
Love her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learning about FPP's color, infrared, and red scale. Learning never to throw away an undeveloped roll. Just this week, I took 2 of my rolls of 120 Fujichrome to the lab with no idea what was on them. I'm not sure why I hadn't developed them. Both came out, and at least one was from circa 2006, and the other, well, I'm not sure, but it's probably a few years ago, and has some ocean images I'm looking forward to scanning. Any of you guys shoot film and then just toss it in a box and forget about it?
Oh, yeah.
I did. About a year ago, you always have those kind of junk drawers around the house, and there was, at the back of a junk drawer was 2 or 3 rolls of APS that were fully shot that just were never developed same thing. For whatever reason, I developed them, and they were like pictures of Christmas from 2006 that I just never... We just got thrown in a drawer, so that was fun to find.
Our good friend Hachi Gatsu.
He has Domo as his avatar, right?
Yes. Nicholas Middleton, Chrono Crater, Greg Aubst, Ron Photo 2, Arthur J.S., Brian Tremblay, and our good friend Patrick J. Clark. Leslie Lazenby.
Who?
I don't care what she has to say.
Nana Ferguson, and Dalicious. Nice. Thank you, everybody. And this time of year, the winter blues, there was a thread started also on the Flickr. And Michael Fortner, our good friend Michael Fortner, who's been with the show probably close to the very beginning.
I remember this thread. This thread went completely off the rails. I felt bad for him.
He's like,
I have too much. What am I going to do with all the film?
he had a storage issue.
Yeah,
Which
I can totally relate to.
It was a storage issue that kind of went into the fact that he was a little bluesy about the fact that he has so much film, and it kind of like a loss of inspiration, which is tough because if you lost the inspiration, you're not shooting, that means you're not going through the film.
But it's fun when new films come out. When you come out and say, "Oh, there's a new XX. Oh, here's the new Sphema. Oh, here's the new whatever." You want to keep buying it,
But the old stuff gets pushed in the back.
right? So what the thread started with was, I need more storage, and like 10 people in a row jumped and said, "Well, start shooting more. Start shooting more. Start." Well, that's not the point. I know, especially Leslie. But I have the same problem where I have a fridge full of, old expired film, and sometimes I don't feel like shooting that. A lot of the time I don't feel like shooting that, but I'm running out of space because I have so much expired film. I have to.
So what do you do?
Never get well, I buy another fridge.
That's how I deal. I've got 3 now for film.
We're talking
Well-
full size or small fridge?
No, these are
One
small.
full, 2 small.
But realistically, what I said on the thread was, don't sweat it. The film's good for
Yes.
a couple of years. If you have to put it in a cupboard for a couple of months, it's going to be fine.
Right.
I did check where he was. He's actually in Georgia, so I was going to say put it outside in your shed, but he's not somewhere cold enough that would help.
Yeah, and we're not all fortunate enough to have our own dedicated film. film fridges.
Right.
Yeah.
Most folks have to share a fridge with someone in the house.
Eggs and the...
Yep, I'm not allowed to get an extra one. That's a new rule. No, so I have to rotate my stock. Lauren keeps up on it too. She's like, "This box has been in there for over a year. I know it."
I have a second little fridge that I bought at a local. Actually, I just mentioned it to Matt. It's a place called Green Demolitions if you're in New Jersey. But either like a Habitat for Humanity restore or a place like that sells appliances. I bought this. It's a perfect apartment-sized fridge. It was $25. Wow. And it might cost me $20 a year to run it, and that's enough to hold a couple hundred rolls of film. So if you've got the space for it, and $25 or $50, you could pick up a used fridge.
We'll be right back right after this quick message. Do you love the Film Photography Podcast? Show your support. Visit our online store at filmphotographyproject.com. That's right, your purchases at our store support this show.
What show?
You're not only supporting the podcast, but you're also supporting our ample giveaway programs and our workshops. Just go to filmphotographyproject.com and click the store button.
Good golly, Miss Molly.
We're an official reseller of
Kodak Alaris films,
That's right.
Impossible Project instant films,
Super amazing.
and our very own FPP hand-rolled films.
your one-stop shopping.
I have to tell you, I spent all my waking hours, no joke, seeking out awesome films for your 35mm and 120 cameras. Most notably is the addition of Shmina films.
Shmina from Eastern Europe.
That's right, Shmina films. Right in our very FPP store, you'll see the famous Shmina FN64, Photo 100, Photo 200, Photo 400, and lots more, as well as Eastman Kodak black and white motion picture film.
That's right.
That's right, for your 35mm still camera. Such stocks as Eastman Double X, Eastman High Contrast 5363, and the awesome Kodak Fine Grain 2366. Check out all these unique film stocks right at filmphotographyproject.com.
Hey,
Thanks. Let's get back to more show. Hey, we're back. The winter blues.
Oh yeah.
Now, not only is it hard to get inspired to go out and shoot, but if you do get inspired to go out and shoot, and you can get some amazing scenes. Leslie was just mentioning before that not only rain is awesome for getting night photography, but snow also reflects an awful lot of light, so you can get some great just street photography in the snow. So if you're bold enough to bundle yourself and go out and shoot, there are some issues with the cold affecting equipment. What tips do you have for folks, Matt?
Sure, I would say, well, if you have a camera that runs on any electricity, bring extra batteries. Try to keep everything as close to body temp, as operating temps as possible, because as temperatures get lower, your shutter speeds potentially get slower. Batteries drain quicker or cease functioning in the camera. So try and keep everything warm and ready to go. The film's fine. The film's fine when it's cold, only unless you take it out of the freezer. Don't load it instantly. Sometimes you might snap some sprockets. But other than that, yeah, keep bundled up. Keep stuff pretty warm, pretty close to you. Treat it like it's a family pet when you're moving it around outside. And just have fun.
A couple weeks ago, I was out. My daughter was going to meet Elsa and Anna at an outdoor function, and I had my Ricoh 519 on a strap on my back. And as we waited in line for an hour, and we finally got to almost the front of the line, and I thought far enough ahead at least to take my camera out and take a couple of test shots, and it was just frozen solid. It wouldn't do anything at all. So I only had cell phone pictures, unfortunately.
What camera was that?
That was my Ricoh 519, which is a completely manual camera, but it just has oil and grease in it that just froze solid.
Yeah, that can lock up real quick. Kind of goes back to the blues in the winter. The best time of year to print is if you're dealing with the winter weather.
Do indoor stuff.
Yeah, indoor stuff. Hit the darkroom. Print those negatives from last year. Make contact sheets. Just
Scan.
It's dark so often, you may as well hit the darkroom.
Yeah.
Scan
if you can, yeah. Hit the backlog. Start planning a project, looking at dates you can go out and shoot. What inspired me in 2014 and inspires me throughout the winter, Donker Dave. Hitting it up with the prints.
Gosh, yes.
That man is a machine. Putting out those platinum prints every day. There's at least one or two new ones.
Sweating it right now.
Well,
How's he?
the darkroom incident, the flooding. Yes, our
His new darkroom?
our good friend
no.
Donker Dave recently.
Swimming Donker Dave.
Yes,
Diver Dave?
He had Diver Dave. Was posting updates pretty actively on it. Looks like it's resolved, but you might take a moment of silence for the darkroom, which got flooded up to the calf. Apparently. So, yeah.
You know, a lot of times for me, 30 out, it's 20 out, it's 10 out. I'm not going out in that. Oh, hey, I just got a package from Mike Rosso. Here's a film I haven't tried. And you get all re-inspired again. Or go through your collection and say, I haven't shot with that camera in a long time. Fire it up, take it out.
Yep.
Sometimes it takes a little bit more sometimes in the winter.
Yeah.
Or try shooting someplace you like going in the summer in
Yes,
the
good
winter.
point.
Just try it out. I like Hocking Hills because it's only about an hour away from where I'm at. I'm trying to go to the falls when it freezes over, get a different view on things. Try not to die on the way down there.
Exactly.
I like shooting. I'm kind of forced to shoot even when I'm not in the mood to because I'm always trying out these new cameras. And
Well, that keeps you going.
well, it kind of forces me to keep going and forcing me to think of things to shoot. But what I do is I'm really into sort of urban decay and graffiti and that kind of thing. So what I'll do is when I load up a new camera, drive up and down some back streets around Jersey City or wherever and try and find, old cars sitting in a driveway or some cool graffiti or some great broken windows. I look for that kind of thing. And every time I need to shoot a new one, I just go to a new area and try and find something new. Or I have some old favorite neighborhoods that I revisit from time to time.
Right.
There's one smashed up TV that I've been taking pictures of for a couple of years that I keep going back to, and it keeps getting more and more smashed.
Where? It's like sitting on a street.
It's sitting in a ditch, actually, sort of near where Dane lives. Actually, in that area, there's an old super fun abandoned area with a broken TV in it.
You can get it with a layer of snow on it. Get it
Exactly.
dripping
Yeah.
in the spring.
Yeah. When I first started going, it looked pretty good, but looking rough now.
Is the screen smashed in?
I think it is. Yeah, the screen is completely gone by now. Yeah.
Is it like one of the old family box TVs with the wooden?
It's not that old.
Framing?
No, it's like
Okay.
a plastic molded Panasonic, like a '90s model. Yeah.
Because there was one in Findlay, right near the grungy apartment I used to live in there. And it was the old family box style
Console
TV
style.
Oh, yeah.
console,
Yep.
and that thing had multiple animal families living
Yes.
out. It was its own ecosystem.
See, I'd love to take pictures of that.
Animal
That's fun.
apartments.
I know where there's a '69 Cadillac in black sitting in the back of a yard that I'm waiting for the people to not be home one day, so they're not blocking it because their car blocks it.
Okay.
I'm waiting to get a clear shot of it, so every once in a while I drive by that.
There we have it.
Yeah.
Here's a quick letter from Mr. Mark O'Brien.
I know that guy.
Mark O'Brien.
He's commenting on the last podcast, which was 2 weeks ago. He says, wonderful podcast, lots of fun, and that Florida gal was a hoot.
That's right. That's me.
Hey!
That was the track. Did anyone here listen to it?
Oh, that was a
Yeah,
great
yeah,
one. Yeah.
Yes.
Mark should know, I guess Mark Dalzell, Mark should know that my first SLR in 1973 was an Exacta 1A.
Oh, because we were talking about the exactas. Yeah.
About 10 years ago, I got into an Exacta collecting spree, and yes, in its day, Exacta was a top-line camera for scientists,
Yeah, it's
Big
premium
bucks.
stuff. Yeah.
as they made lots of macro equipment and adapters to do specialized tasks.
It's amazing what was available for those cameras. Yeah.
The film cutter, which is in the
I
camera,
have one of, yes.
yeah.
It's like a little razor blade in there.
The film cutter in the camera was especially useful for scientific work, reasons you went over in the podcast. Just,
There you go.
cutting it and sending
Yeah.
it to...
So you don't have to finish a whole roll.
And then he says, oh, there's a little ad.
Which one is it?
This is, look at the price, $100.
Leslie's holding up a... where is that?
This is a 1954 U.S. camera photo equipment guide that came out with once a year, and there's an Exacta in here. This is 1954. This camera was $199.
Yeesh.
These
It's got
were
to be
big bucks
thousands of
cameras.
dollars. Yeah.
I know.
And then Mark says, because in the segment at the Trackman studio, we talked about seeing a camera I saw at a pawn shop, and it was a Polaroid 100. And when I opened the back, it was filled with dried roaches.
Lovely.
So he says the roaches in the
He-
camera, and he says,
probably just thought, this
Yes,
is great.
the little
This is a
smiley,
gold
like,
Put them in a
star.
baggie.
yeah,
Mail it to me.
exactly.
Gold star.
So thank you, Mark, for that letter.
Cool. Actually, for Christmas, I got another Exacta, so I'll be talking about that in the future too.
Let's take a quick break, and we come back. Leslie will be talking about the 666.
Pinhole instant camera.
Hey!
Did you know that this year there is a Polaroid automatic land camera explosion. Hundreds of people have picked up Polaroid automatic land cameras because of FPP alone. Fuel your passion for instant photography and consider picking up a Polaroid automatic land camera right in the FPP store. All cameras are on my FPP workbench, are thoroughly tested, batteries reconfigured, and ready to drop into your hands. Stop by filmphotographystore.com and check it out. Kodak Vision 3 35mm film. And you've heard some chatter right here on the Film Photography Podcast, and you may be saying,
What is it?
it is 35mm motion picture film, the very same film shot in Hollywood in motion pictures. And the FPP is buying this film direct from Eastman Kodak, and right in our FPP studio, I've been cutting it down into 27 exposure cartridges. You may be asking,
Why?
because the film is so awesome, and although there are other great Kodak stocks out there like Ektar and Portra, I think we all like
Freedom of choice.
the idea that we could pop a new film or a new to us film into our camera and experience what it's like to shoot. And the 3 films that are currently available right here in the FPP store, they're all Kodak Vision 3 films. The first is 50D. That's a daylight film, 50 ISO. It's amazing because it's so crisp, and the Vision stocks capture so much detail in the shadow areas. It's a wonderful film. For a little
Boost?
I recommend the 250D. That's a 250 ISO film that gives you a little more speed. Most remarkable is the 500T film. This is a tungsten indoor light based film. Perfect film if you're a event photographer or shooting indoors, let's say in a family dinner situation or something that's indoors or where there's mixed light, but most of it is indoor light. Now this 500T film with an 85 filter, orange filter over your lens, can also be shot in daylight. So it's an incredibly versatile, awesome film for those who need some speed. In the past, what has kept these films out of our hands is the notorious
Ramjet.
This is the black carbon-based layer that's on the non-emulsion side of the film that's designed to help the film in transport when it's in a 35mm motion picture camera. Protects the film while it's running through at 24 frames per second. And this has kept this film out of our hands because there was no way to process it. But now, for those of you who are using our very own Unicolor C41 kit, you could process it at home. We have instructions right on our website, the additional step you need to do if you are processing yourself. But the biggest breaking news is that if you're not processing yourself, which is probably the majority of folks who are listening right now, you could shoot this film and send it to the Little Film Lab in California. That's right, the Little Film Lab. And each roll of Vision 3 film, whichever flavor you like, will ship out with a piece of paper of where you can send this for processing. Mind-numbing news, because we can now all try the Kodak Vision 3 film. And you're going to be hearing about it here on the FPP. So get shooting and stay tuned. Thank you much. Hey, we're back. The last part of 2014, we received a welcoming letter from none other than Dr. Florian Capps. Dr. Florian Capps, for those of you who don't know, was the founder of the Impossible Project. One of the men responsible bringing back the instant film for vintage Polaroid cameras. This is way back in 2008, 2009. Dr. Capps retired from the Impossible Project last year. And for those of you who've been wondering,
Hey, man, what's up with Doc?
what's up, Doc?
What have you done for me lately?
I received an email from him introducing, talking about a company in Vienna called Suspersense. Apparently they have a store, Suspersense, and they have put together a brand new camera. It's limited. I think it's 500 units.
Pieces.
It's called a
66/6
Pinhole instant camera. And Leslie is here to talk about, not only talk about, but Dr. Capps was kind enough to send us one on loan. We sent it right over to Imagine That in Findlay, Ohio. So Leslie, not only from what she's read about it, you got to actually shoot with it.
Yes, I did.
What's this?
I think probably the first thing, what's up with the name?
666.
Oh, yeah. 66 years
Yes.
since Dr. Edwin Land introduced instant photography, and 6 years since the last factory was closed. So, okay, it makes sense now. It's not,
66/6.
Damien, what's his face from The Omen or anything like that.
Right.
Camera of the
But
beast.
Anyway, it was designed by Florian Capps and Akeem Hine, and there are 500 models of this available. Each one does come serial numbered, pretty sweet. And I thought, you know what? I love Pinhole. I love wide angles. I love instant photography. This is never going to go back to them. I just knew it was going to be a problem. The first thing I have to say about it, it is built exceptionally well. It has a collapsible bellows on it, and as you collapse it, you're choosing different wide angles. All the way back is extremely wide, popped all the way out, still wide, but a little bit closer to normal. So you've got that rubber bellows in there. On the very front, you have a 3-position turret-style lens. So you've got a tiny, tiny pinhole and a not-so-tiny pinhole in a closed position. And then the whole thing is built on top of the Impossible Project's FPU, the film processing unit.
Oh.
Now, I have not used this in any type of photography before the unit. I had a suspicion when I opened the box, since it came with a charger, something had to be charged. That unit did. You could still shoot with it. It's a pinhole camera. But to get the print out or even the cover out, it's got to be
motor.
charged up. Yes.
Yeah.
Very smart USB charger. So that it doesn't matter where they send it to. If you've got something USB, you can charge the puppy up. And I shot maybe 4 boxes of film out, threw it over a couple weeks. Never had to recharge it again.
Oh, that's good.
It has no, I didn't hear any difference of it coming out, so I didn't get any indication that it was getting weaker. So, all that being said, there's some things you have to do before you even use it, to prepare for this.
Some rituals, if it were, for the 6.
Well, exactly.
You need a virgin.
First,
and
I had to. Jeez.
Nice.
Well, I had to get Rosemary's Baby. She is grown up now. Anyway, they have a nice little quick cheat sheet on the inside.
Oh, good.
That you download an app called Pocket Light Meter from No Waste Studios, NUWAST. It is 99 cents, very minimal. And the only thing I'm not fond about with the whole camera is how much it made me rely on my smartphone.
For what?
Everything.
Oh.
Okay, first I need that app. Because that app
Oh, you
allows
need the app.
Yes, the Pocket Light Meter allows you to put in an ASA of 640, an f-stop of 57, and then use that to read your timeout. Then once you read your timeout, you go to a little label on the back of the camera. You choose your lens and your bellows compression, and you multiply the time on the camera, or on your cell phone, your smell phone, on your cell phone that, and there's various. It could be maybe times 10 or times 84. So some of those exposures can get pretty long. Okay, I'm out in the cold, I'm freezing. I'm going to use my cell phone here to do my math. Great. Ooh, this is going to be 32 seconds. Let's just use the timer on the phone. I get 32. Count them off, 32. So at least having your smartphone with you really eliminates a couple pieces of equipment. But besides that, I would recommend a tripod. I would recommend plenty of film. And I would also recommend starting off with the black and white version, because it's about a 10-minute process time compared to the color, which is roughly 30. And once you get over 30 seconds with Impossible film, you've got Reciprocity to deal with. So you kind of want to see your results if you like the view, if you need to adjust and take another picture.
Can you just quickly explain what exactly is Reciprocity for folks who don't know?
It is, film is made to photograph accurately at what we consider normal camera speeds.
Okay.
When you go to longer camera speeds, it doesn't automatically equate to that same time. 1 minute may now really take 2 minutes to get that correct exposure. So with the longer times, you need longer exposures. They call it reciprocity failure.
Oh, boy. If you Google it, I'm sure you get a Wikipedia
Absolutely.
page.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Google.
Some films are very predictable, like Kodak. You know, I do 2.5 times over what it says, that kind of thing. But
Some films are awesome and have almost no reciprocity failure.
Chris 100.
Yeah, burr.
Yeah.
Geeks.
So anyway, I'm doing all this. I'm going out, I'm watching the light. I run out. I shoot some stuff. I get my calculator out, stopwatch, my app, doing this, doing that. And I wasn't really getting along very well with this camera. Everything kind of was just all over, and I was kind of bummed about it. And I'm blowing through film, and I'm thinking, I don't have a thing to show yet. Finally, it's about the time we'd committed to getting the camera back to them. Really overcast day. November was in Ohio, very overcast. This is it. The light is the same everywhere. So it's kind of like anytime you're testing something, keep all of your variables the same except for one and only change that. So I chose only one lens opening, only one compression on the bellows, and out I went. And I thought, forget the smartphone. This is Pinhole, girl. You've done Pinhole.
Use the force.
Use the force and use the brain. And I thought, yeah, looks like 5 seconds. Timed it for 5 seconds. A little too much. Shot everything else on 4 seconds that day. I had a blast. Finally, when I just chilled out a little bit with it, it was great. Now, I have written a blog for FPP on this, and the title of it is Dirty Harry and the Suspersense 666.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Nice. Why?
Why?
Does Clint Eastwood own one of these?
He doesn't,
Okay.
but he kept talking to me the whole time. There's a few things that I... Oh, great, now we know. Hey, move over, you're crowding Clint Eastwood.
What did he say?
He kept saying to me,
Go ahead. Make my day.
there's no counter on this camera. So when you put it away for a few days and you go back out again, he's going,
Did he fire 6 shots or only 5? Well, to tell you the truth, in all this excitement, I've kind of lost track myself. But Ian, this is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and would blow your head clean off. You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Ian, this is the 666 Pinhole, the newest instant camera in the world. I had to ask myself, do I feel lucky? And I thought, yeah, I do feel lucky because I've got to test this camera. But you think you go through all of this setup, you did it, you get it covered, you shoot it, crap, I'm out of
nothing
film.
comes out,
and
yeah.
then he's back in my head again. Did I shoot? I shot 8. Okay.
That's so awesome.
But
because
the whole time he's just talking to, did I shoot 7 frames or did I shoot 8? So I'm going to assume it hasn't been that long that there's probably some of these left. But if you are interested in Pinhole and Instant and these super wides, and what I predict will probably be quite a collectible camera, there are only 500.
Definitely.
Hop on over to Suspersense, get yourself one.
there'll be a link in our show notes. By the way, show notes. John the Trackman.
Hey!
He had mentioned, I don't like the podcast because, I can't see what you're talking about. I thought, go to our show notes, buddy. That's why they were invented. So you could see a picture.
Yeah.
And these days, you could have one of those smarty phones. Like if you're listening to the podcast while driving, you read the show notes while you're driving. So you actually heard the Clint Eastwood, like you would hear his voice.
That's the very first thing. He's going, did I shoot 6? Yep, he was there.
Wow.
He was there in my ear.
I had a chance to see, not play with, but at least see the 66.6 camera. Good friend of FPP, Josh Harrison, who went to the workshop last year. He brought his out in November. He was down in Columbus visiting, so we went out the Short North area and shot around. And I think we were playing with the Lomo Instant, and he was shooting with the Impossible as well. So kind of fun.
Yeah.
Chill out a little and enjoy it.
And with any camera, when you first get something and it's very new to you, you have to give yourself some time to become acclimated to how to use the camera, what works best for you. It's like people who pick up a Polaroid pack camera for the first time. They're very frustrated.
Yep.
Oh, my tabs are breaking. This is happening. But once you achieve the force, then it's like second nature, and then you'll be out there.
And then it gets fun, and you enjoy it, and you get the techie
Yeah,
stuff.
don't get the film sweats about it. Yeah.
No.
So thank you very much, Leslie.
Thank you, and thank you, Suspersense.
Yes.
How sweet.
When we come back, Mark Dalzell will be talking about a camera.
What are the odds?
Hey, the Darkroom is a lab on the West Coast, and these days, because we're all shooting film, but the big question is, where do I bring my film to get processed? The Darkroom is an option, and they've really stepped up to develop
all films.
110 film, 126 film, 35mm film, 620 film, 120 film, 4x5 film, 8x10
Wow. One-stop shopping.
black and white, color print C41, color slide E6,
E6.
120, 220, 35, 4x5, 8x10. The
Darkroom. It's thedarkroom.com.
They also do testing of awesome films like Lomo, X-Pro, Red Scale, True Black and White, Crossbird, Redbird, Nightbird, infrared films.
All of us here at the FPP highly recommend you go there.
They'll take good care of you.
Thedarkroom.com. Tell them the FPP sent you.
Yeah.
Hey, we're back. Mark, what would you like to talk about from your wide variety? Oh, you want to talk about the
I
Miranda?
think the Miranda. Yeah, we'll talk about Miranda.
We're here in the studio, and Mr. Mark Dalzell is going to talk about the 1971 Miranda Sensomat RESLR. The year 1971. I remember it very well.
Man,
yes.
shut up.
No comment.
Me either.
I think my mom does.
Exactly. I think my grandma was alive back then. This is the Sensomat RE. This is a camera I recently picked up
From a museum, because it looks like it's brand new.
I know, it's perfect. No, via like a sort of a, I don't know what you want to call it, like a classified ad, we'll call it, to be old-fashioned. Yeah, I went over to someone's house to pick up a bunch of records, and she said, oh, by the way, I also have this table covered in cameras. And this was one of them. So her father had been sort of an amateur photographer and a bit of a camera collector, and he had some really incredibly clean and beautiful vintage cameras, including this Miranda Sensomat RE. This came with the 50mm 1.4 lens, also really nice, clean condition. Came with a Miranda doubler, which is really cool, a Miranda teleconverter, which is also very cool. I shot with it last week. It's a lot of fun to work with. This has TTL metering.
Whoa!
So it is a pretty modern camera, and the meter actually works really well, and it's really nice. The only downside to this, Miranda had like 30 different SLR cameras that they made. There was also the Sensor Rex series, which is a pretty popular one. The difference between the Sensor Rex and the Sensomat, which is what this is it doesn't have the stop-down metering built in. It doesn't have the tab on the lens to be able to calculate what your aperture is. So it actually has a little push button on the front that locks your aperture down, and it clicks on and clicks off, which is kind of cool. So you click it on.
Like a click pen, okay.
Yeah, exactly, like an old Bic pen. So you click it on, then you get your speeds and everything set up so the needle's right, and then you click it off and take the shot.
I've never seen it, something like that. That's
cool.
Yeah,
it's kind of neat. This also has, I haven't even gotten to that part yet. Yeah, the lens mount on it is actually, it's a Miranda bayonet mount. It's a 4-bladed bayonet mount, which is pretty unique on its own.
Yeah.
But what it's also got is a 44mm thread on the inside, so it would mount 2 different types of lenses.
That's pretty cool.
Which is pretty weird.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies made lenses for these. There were a ton of different ones.
I was going to say, 44 is bigger than all the old rangefinder ones,
it's
right?
Nothing. It's a pretty coarse thread 44 anyway. Yeah, I don't think anything would have fit. It would have been very cool if they had made it like an M42 or something really or an M39 or something. But unfortunately no. But it is kind of interesting that it will take 2 different lenses. It has... also, if there's anybody out there, this runs from bulb to 1000. If anybody can tell me how to make it go to bulb, I haven't been able to figure that out yet.
You got to press a button?
No, I don't know. In either direction when you go to it.
You pull it up? Can you pull it? Or
no, that's your film
ISO?
speed. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a mystery. But anyway, another thing it's got, which is kind of interesting, is it's got a front and a top-mounted shutter release, depending on how you like to hold it.
Nice.
Does the same thing.
Well thought out.
And the cool thing about the one on the top, it does not have a cable release, as you will see. But you can see there's nothing up my sleeves.
Nothing up your sleeves.
The top shutter release actually unscrews and exposes a shutter release.
Oh, look at that.
Cable release port, which is very cool. And then what I'm left with is this little spring-mounted button, which you could use on other cameras.
Oh, yeah.
Like imagine sticking this on an old Kodak Bellows camera, or so. Just this little piece alone, I think, is very, very cool.
Yeah, I'm into the adorable cable releases. Yeah, I got all the tiny ones for the large format. Just dink. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you've got a little push button that you can put on your.
That's pretty sweet.
On your large format, which is kind of cool. I might try that on my 4x5.
And for the folks at home, the lens on this, Mark, it's like butter focusing it. Like compared to like the FD mount lenses and all the stuff, it's just very
so
smooth. I'm surprised because normally those old 50-1.4s just like.
Yeah, but not loose.
Grindy.
It gives you a good bit of resistance.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's really, really nice.
Yeah, it's got a lot of neat features. This had a ton of removable prisms and viewfinders you could get.
So you get the waist level finder and stuff
Yeah,
for it,
so it had waist level. It had multiple prisms that you could get for it.
That's cool.
It does not have a hot shoe on it. It doesn't have any kind of shoe on it, but there was...
Shoe? What shoe?
An accessory shoe that snapped onto the rewind lever that would give you a shoe, accessory shoe, and then on the side... You've got your X-Sync PC port and an FP port as well. So, it was pretty versatile.
And when you walked in to pick up some records, like you basically just walked out of this person's house with like cameras?
Everything.
Yeah. She actually, I mean, again, it was, I think I'm known for buying old cameras. So when I went to pick up the record, she said, "Oh, you're the guy who likes cameras too, right?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh, because I've got all of these." So.
Yeah, they pay cash money?
Yeah. I happen to have a stack of cash. You never know when you're going to bump into a table covered in cameras, so I always keep a bit of cash in my pocket, a bit of folding money. So, yeah, I picked up some stuff that I'll be talking about for months to come on the show.
Sweet.
That is a sweet camera.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was
what
my first
battery
one.
does that take?
This takes a single
is that
675 or whatever it was. I just put an LR44 in it.
Exactly.
It's fine. Yeah, it works fine. The old battery sweats discussion, but yeah, just a single.
Have you shot with it yet?
I did, yeah. It's very nice to shoot with. It feels good. The only thing that's a little bit clunky is remembering, like, why is it saying overexposed? Oh, yeah, right.
You have to stop it down.
Click it down. I keep forgetting to do that.
I like that it's on the other side because most of the stop downs are always on the same side as your shutter release hand, so you got to like fumble around. That's
or
like
you have
natural.
You have to pinch it or something like on the Minolta. This one is like a second shutter release. So, and it feels kind of cool too. It does feel like an old pen.
Now that
sounds like that's why I was
pen function. What exactly does that do again?
So if you look,
is it like
it's your stop down
it stops down the aperture so it can meter accurately,
and then
so
click it on.
Yes.
So now it stops it down to 16.
And then it
and then your
right
needle will
again.
come alive. Yeah, when you do that.
Yeah, so you can go back to a bright viewfinder again to focus.
That's pretty sweet.
So basically, this button is what do you call the other cameras have it too? It shows you your actual. It stops down with the lenses.
It's a depth of field preview too.
Yes.
So the same. So like on the Minolta, it's on the side.
Yeah.
So if you look through the lens here,
Oh, it's a very satisfying click.
so you see it's just
Yes.
just closing your aperture. But it's on the Minolta, it's like stiff and kind of awkward.
Yeah,
On this one, it's just
sweet.
like nicely placed. Yeah, it's got nice old pebbled,
Leatherette.
70s pebbled, which feels nice in your hands too.
Very
There you
nice.
go. There's the Miranda.
Thank you very much.
Sure, my pleasure.
We're going to be back in a moment with more show. We're going to take a break. Hey, FPP listeners. Some really, really great news. The FPP online store, filmphotographystore.com. We now stock Darkroom Supplies. So if you're already in the darkroom or if you've been thinking about it, now's the time to go to the FPP site. We are now stocking tanks and reels, Kodak D76 black and white developer, Kodak Fixer, and the Home C41 Unicolor kit. That's right, you can do your very own color negative development right in your home. It's so easy. Folks that have been listening and kind of following along as all of us here at the FPP have started doing our own color, everyone has been so pleasantly surprised of how easy it really is. So jump on over to the filmphotographyproject.com, click the store tab, and check out our darkroom supplies, as well as all of our hand-rolled 35mm film, Kodak Alaris film, Fujifilm, 110 film, and of course our huge selection of 620 film. Awesome! Thanks very much. Let's get back to some show. Hey, this is Michael Rosso, host of the Film Photography Podcast, and a huge thank you to folks out there who have donated to the FPP over the last few months or year. If you love the FPP and really dig the podcast and continued blogs, videos, then please consider donating to the Film Photography Project. And you could do so very easily by either finding a camera, a film camera that works, and consider donating it to the show. Do you have any excess film that you're not shooting? Or if you can make a contribution, you could easily do that on the FPP Film Photography Project site and click Donate. Everything that's received is used for the Film Photography Project and its podcast, for our monthly giveaways, and any monies that are made in the FPP store just fuel the podcast. Let's keep these shoes going. The Film Photography Podcast. It's here for you.
That's right, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Hey, we're back. Really quick, I just want everyone to know I received over the holidays an email from film photographer Marcus Anderson. He's in Sydney, Australia. And a filmmaker by the name of Rob Norton did a profile of him called Belly of the Beast. And it talks about, it's on our if you go to
YouTube.
Yeah. If you go to filmphotographyproject.com and click on videos, you will see we have the YouTube video embedded. Did you watch it?
That is sweet. I watched it twice.
You did?
Yeah, I loved it.
That's great. Congratulations, Rob Norton, who did that film.
Yeah, it was very well done. It really kind of put film photography in a great light and just kind of shared every aspect of it. It was great.
It says Marcus Anderson dodgily pursues not merely cool images, but great images. Sydney, Australia is his canvas. He calls it the belly of the beast. His art practice encompasses documentary, street, and conceptual bodies of work, including 35mm, 120, and the iPhone as his capture mediums. And I thought it was wonderful because it really was about capturing that image and not being a snob about, I can't use my iPhone.
Yeah, that's kind of like he's kind of like the modern, what I perceive as like the 21st century film shooter. Like that's what it not should be, but
right.
It's a good blend.
Yeah.
I guess he's a good hybrid photographer,
and he's always on his feet. Sometimes if you don't have your gear with you, you just whip out your iPhone,
whatever you got,
and you just grab that shot. So fantastic, folks out there listening. Please do check out this short film. I think you'll really enjoy it. And I want to thank Marcus for sending me the notice. And congratulations to Rob Norton for completing the film. It's a wonderful, beautifully constructed film. Matt Marash is here.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And he has our Book of the Month.
Book of the month, book of the month. It's time for Book of the Month.
Yeah, see, I feel so bad. We've gotten a little lazy about Books of the Month, but the good news is Columbus, Ohio is littered with this wonderful store called Half Price Books. And I
like the sound of that.
I'm addicted to Half Price. It's like a used or like retail not successful
remainder.
Books. Yeah. But you can, all the books I got over there were less than like $30. This was a present, but so we're going to be having plenty of Books of the Month for months to come here on FPP. So this was actually my Christmas present from Lauren this year.
Nice.
A total surprise. I was like, this isn't film. 5x7. I don't need 5x7 film. That's the first thing I said.
500 sheets of 5x7.
Yeah, sweet. This is A History of Photography from 1839 to present from the George Eastman House collection. It's a book from 2012, and it is an excellent just kind of tour through the history of photography, all the way from
it looks
Henry
like
Fox Talbot.
Like a gallery. The book itself looks like a gallery.
Yeah, it's great, and these are all really high-res images that are all parts of the Eastman House collection. So any of these images you see, if you're out in Rochester, you can actually request to look at a lot of these images that are there. Not all of them are in their collection, but I mean, they give you great details on the photographers, the thought processes, like the actual technical stuff. There's a couple of plugs about, they do the workshops at the Eastman House. This is an excellent book. It's just an encyclopedia of, photography from, it mainly focuses on 1800s and early 1900s, but it does kind of take you through modern as we go along, kind of the last couple of chapters.
Ouija in there?
Oh, yeah, he's in here.
A History of Photography.
From 1839 to present.
By?
The George Eastman House.
Oh, the George Eastman House.
Southward and Hawes in there? Have to be. Look at
Probably,
that.
yeah.
And this is a Taschen book.
Yeah.
They put out some nice books, don't they?
That books I have over there.
Is there anything Kodak or Eastman sort of biased about it, or is that just a general photography?
I mean, this is through that. Thanks for asking. No, it is through very much, Western eyes. So it doesn't focus too much on photography that was going on throughout the rest of the world. But don't worry, I've got books of the month to cover the rest.
Okay.
It does talk a little bit about what was going on in the rest of the world, but a lot of it is going to be through the eyes of what the Eastman House has access to. But it's still really, really inclusive.
But it's not like every picture was taken on a Kodak camera with Kodak film kind of thing.
It's not like that. It's not like horribly biased. And I think just in general, the Eastman House does a great job at disconnecting themselves from any ties like that, because they represent everything photography now. So, and have you guys checked out their workshops? They do well. They can't do enough workshops. Every time they do have a new workshop, it's sold out. They're doing workshops on alternative process. They're doing camera outings. Last year they did like an Erie Canal tour where Mark Osterman took them out with their intern over there, and they did a whole bunch of print processes, and I think they were doing gelatin dry plates. Amazing stuff that they're doing over there, and purchasing this book tells them, hey, we're doing a good job with what we're doing. But if you know anybody, or you're interested in learning a little bit more about the history, the nitty-gritty, or just want to see some beautiful reproduction images, check out that book. I found it half price, or no, that one was a gift from Lauren. But you can find it half price books. You can also find it new online, and still currently printed book.
Very nice. Leslie is like
It is beautiful.
digging in.
I'm digging in, looking up my favorite daguerreotypist.
Ah, okay.
Thank you, Matt.
Hey, yeah. Thanks.
While Leslie and Mark are kind of checking out the book, I would like to just really quickly do my Polaroid Minute for this show, in which I'd like to talk about FP3000B and the Polaroid Big Swinger cameras. Fujifilm, which makes the FP3000B, that is the black and white film, the exclusive film to use in the Big Swinger camera. A lot of folks were like a little sad last year because Fujifilm announced discontinuation of the film. But I would like everyone to know there's plenty of FP3000B around. Sadly, the price doubled since about 2 years ago. So you're paying about $20 a pack. It's there. Use it. Because it won't... Yeah, use it this year.
It's not getting any younger.
And the Polaroid Big Swinger camera... You can pick yours up right at our shop, the Film Photography Project. Click on the store tab if you want one that's, the great thing about the FPP is that all the cameras are tested. So they're all vetted, they're tested with film. If you want to try to get one, on your own, go to the ebay.com. And you could probably find this for, I don't know, $10?
Maybe.
Yeah,
you
maybe.
probably pay more than shipping than you will for a camera. But
I think it's scaring people off now because it only uses 3,000, so it's a good time to buy one.
It is a good time to buy one because the film is now available. I get so many emails of people who have the J66 and the much earlier cameras where you cannot get film, and people want to shoot with them.
Great decorations.
Yeah, but this one is a great decoration, but you can shoot with it. And right now, all you have to do is ask the seller to look inside the camera, close to the inside lens, to check the battery compartment. If there's no crud or corrosion in there, you're pretty much good as gold. These cameras work very well. They use the little peanut bulbs. That's right, one bulb per exposure. Like over the holidays, I was shooting family, a lot of older cameras that use flash bulbs. And everyone's like, wait a minute, one flash per bulb, that's it?
That's it?
they find it a difficult concept, don't they? Yeah.
Young people can't grasp the concept at all. But now's a good time to grab this camera, shoot with it. It's really a great camera. It's a lot of fun. Outside has the fabulous feature. You squeeze a little tab and you turn it to get your exposure, and yes appears in the eyepiece. Have you ever seen that?
I have. It's amazing.
Very
It's
cool.
Great, right?
It really is. It's so fun. It's so teenage.
It is. And if you're a teenage and you're listening to this show, I cannot even tell you how much fun you'll have with this camera. You will have lots of fun.
And what are we not all but teenagers at heart?
That's right.
There you go.
So that's my Polaroid Minute for this show. And that kind of wraps up this show, speaking of shows.
What show?
I want to thank everyone for joining us. I want to thank the folks at the studio here. And I can't tell you what a joy it is to be broadcasting in your car, bus, home, dark room, and other places. bedroom, bathroom.
While you're getting your MRI.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Guys like them across the nation. They got the right train, wrong destination. I'm gonna give them a clue to find a way to her heart. Ditch all the macho bullshit, that'll do for a start. You gotta change your way if you wanna lose all this frustration. Well, you got the right train, wrong destination. And you should take some good advice. Chocolates are okay, but respect is twice as nice. Yeah, so are you doing okay? Are you doing alright? You better not forget the lady's always right. 'Cause if you think you can beat the girls across this nation, well, you got the right train, wrong destination. Hey, you got the right train, wrong destination. Right train, wrong destination.